invite your not so friendly friends and tell them that Maiyegun is live. You know, Maiyegun today. So thank you very much if you have done that. So yesterday was the supposed the 65th anniversary or 65th independence anniversary. So a lot of discussion around that. And we treated part of that yesterday, but today or tonight, we will pick it from there and continue, right? So Peter Obi, one of the opposition leaders in Nigeria, right, sort of like gave a world press conference that he tagged the state of the nation, Nigeria, and how APC, Egbekegbe, have, destroyed whatever progress made since, in the last 50 years, that they've degraded that, especially in the last decade. And they have now, they did that by institutionalizing corruption as well as incompetencies and all that. So the presser is where we're going to start from. I kind of divided them into two, right? So that we can have the first part, get the second part, react to both before we go to something else as well, as usual. So please, as you are joining, remember, after liking the broadcast, share it, okay? And here we go. Peter Obi's Independence Day speech that he addressed to Nigerians generally. And I think you should listen. We listened to that of Koolu, didn't we? And maybe you should listen to this too. So we start with this.
A day to celebrate the struggles of our heroes who fought to free Nigeria from colonial rule. It should be a day for gratitude to Almighty God for His blessings on our nation. On October 1, 1960, Nigeria gained independence to a global acclaim as an emerging African economic and political power. Such was the potential that the Time magazine predicted the rise of a true African superpower that will lead the continent with pride. Our founding fathers fought for independence with confidence, passion, and determination to build a prosperous Nigeria that will stand alongside the world's most advanced nations. Unfortunately, the tragic failure of leadership derailed this vision. Yet, despite the setbacks, Nigeria has always shown resilience. In 1999, we overcame military dictatorship and restored democracy, beginning a renewed journey towards prosperity, freedom, and justice. That journey helped us to build Africa's largest economy and strengthened our democratic journey. But over the last decade, under APC incompetent, divisive, and corrupt leadership, Nigeria has been greatly diminished. In 2007, our total debt was about 2.5 trillion. Only about 10% of our GDP, after President Obasanjo's government has successfully secured debt forgiveness of over $30 billion. By 2014, Nigeria had become Africa's largest economy and was primed to achieve middle income status. In 2015, for the first time, a ruling party was defeated in a presidential election marking another milestone for our democratic journey. Today, the picture is bleak. Our total debt stands at about 170 trillion, nearly 50% of our GDP, without any improvement in our productive sector. Nigeria has now fallen to the fourth largest economy in Africa, behind South Africa, Egypt, and Algeria. Our democracy is now described as undemocratic. In just 1 year of this administration, 15 million Nigerians were pushed into acute poverty. Today, more than 150 million Nigerians lack access to basic health, education, water, and sanitation. The number is growing daily under the APC government that pursues brutal revenue-driven policies while ignoring the people's welfare. Nigeria now ranks among the lowest in the world in human development indicators. This government taxes struggling citizens and small businesses heavily while indulging in extravagance. Billions are spent on new presidential jets, yachts, and luxury cars. The cost of which is more than the 2024 budget for primary health care. The vice president's residence was elected at a cost of 25 billion, more than the capital budget of our entire university research program and 6 university hospitals combined. Over 10 billion was budgeted for National Assembly, car park, and canteen, more than the capital budget of Ministry of Science.
That's OB. But there's something I actually want to say before I go fully into that, right? Why do some of some of his critics, why are they mostly triggered whenever he criticized Tinubu, APC, their policy, and the rest of that? Like, why are they triggered? Because to them, saying all of that is demarketing Nigeria. So therefore, this person is not a good person. Every time he's always talking about the bad things. And I'm like, what do you think is the job of the opposition? They say, no, opposition must criticize constructively. What is criticizing constructively other than to criticize the policies of the ruling government? Like, you want to tell them, like, teleguide them of what to say, and all of that. I'm like, and I'm not really surprised though, right? If you know very well, in Nigeria, Nigerians are just their pawn, the pawns on their chess table, right? So you will see these guys who are going to pretend whenever election is coming, it's going to be like war, like, immediately after the election, you just see that the presidential candidate of that party that lost is now the friend, with the one that is declared winner. And just like that, other members of the opposition that they were threatening to kill themselves to blow up the country. You just start seeing them, either they campaign or they begin to talk like they are friends. There's no permanent enemy, there's no permanent friend, all that shit, right? Then election will come again, they'll begin to threaten fires and brimstone, all of that. But In 2023, that changed. It was like the entire system of the establishment got caught unaware by disobedient movement or so, which is obvious. And since then, they feel like they have not been able to control how the narrative goes. You know what I mean? Like the opposition should be talking. And Peter Obi himself, who is a member of the elite, by the way, right? I've started talking like the Gen Zs, just saying it the way it is, without sugarcoating, without, trying to avoid any form of a confrontation. You get that now? I don't know if you have observed that. If you haven't, you should. Now, back to what he's saying. Did he lie? With the situation you have found yourself in Nigeria now, Tinubu and his gang are struggling to force their imaginary progress on the people, and they are spending so much in propagating the lies that he himself is very much convinced that the lies are true, so to say. So the country declined while the country gets more indebted. Poverty increased, insecurity increased, and everywhere in Nigeria today there is no pointer to say, oh, whatever the plan was for Nigeria in 1960. So how far behind is Nigeria now to their peers who got the same independence the same time, among many factors that people will consider, right? Let's listen to the other part of his speech, comparing how much is being spent or budgeted and spent on these guys, and how much is being budgeted and spent on critical sectors of the country. Just mentioning that. So let's go back.
Of science and technology. At a time, science is crucial for national growth. Meanwhile, Nigerians pay more for everything now and receive less. Passports, permits, electricity, petrol, food, rent, healthcare, all cost more. Yet, power supply remains unreliable, food insecurity deepens. UNICEF World Food Program project that 33 million Nigerians will face acute hunger in 2025. This government borrows recklessly, not for investment in productive infrastructure, but for wasteful consumption. Insecurity has further crippled our economy. Nigerians now live in fear of traveling by road. Kidnapping has become rampant, with billions paid as ransom. Incompetence in security management has turned our country into one of the most terrorized and unsafe nations in the world. Cronyism, corruption, and disregard for rule of law have scared away investors, while other African countries have overtaken us as preferred investment destinations. Despite this mismanagement, Nigerian potential for greatness remains. We cannot give up on the dream of a prosperous and secure nation. What we need now is competent, compassionate, and committed leadership. Our primary priority must be prudent economic management, investment in human capital, rule of law, and infrastructure development. We must mobilize our enormous natural resources to drastically reduce poverty and achieve rapid, sustained growth. We should learn from nations like China, India, Indonesia, and Bangladesh, which has turned around their economies through disciplined leadership and people-oriented policies. Nigeria too can rebound, but only if we exit the path of incompetence and fiscal irresponsibility. The current failures must not lead us to despair. They should instead fuel our determination to rebuild. Nigeria has the resources, talent, resilience to become an industrialized nation in record time. With the right leadership, we can defeat terrorism and restore security and guarantee Nigerians safe communities where enterprise and social life can thrive. We must not end a system where leaders feast while the people starve. That must end. They cannot continue to promise us that we should all fast when they are feasting, which is what is happening today. Nigerians, where politics enriches the few, while many are in hunger and in starvation, must end. The old politics must end, and a new politics of prosperity for all must begin. Against all odds, we must return Nigeria to a path of prosperity and justice. We will not relent. We will not be discouraged. The mission is clear. Nigeria will rise again. I call on political leaders to reflect on the crisis confronting our nation and recognize this as a moment to transcend personal interests. We must reject corruption, bigotry, and division. We must embrace a new Nigeria where leadership is defined by competence, compassion, character, commitment. Despite today's challenges, the future remains bright. Happy Independence Day to all Nigerians. A new Nigeria.
A new Nigeria is possible. So the argument of the Ronukus and even the non-Ronukus, who believes that most of Peter Obi's ideas are not practicable at the national level of the kind of country that Nigeria is. Their excuse is that some of the countries he referenced in his in his own defense of criticizing Tifnumbu and APC, Egbekegbe, that they are not really doing that great. If we have to be sincere with the available data. But something about Obi is that when he's talking about, for example, now, if he's talking about agriculture, he may tell you that you should take a look at the countries like 1, 2, 3, what they did with agriculture. That's when it will be like Bangladesh, Thailand, China, and all that. Oh, look at what these places did with economic and what blah blah blah. Look at this one. I think that's what he does most of the time. But anyway, so Tifnumbu, well, Nigeria is far better now. In fact, the last 10 years of the APC, Egbekegbe, has been the best years. Not because they don't have challenges. Remember, prepared speech. There's a chance that Obi prepared his own speech, because you could tell that he's actually like reading it, scrolling it on a screen of probably a mobile phone or so, right? Tifnumbu got his own speech written for him as well, talking about this same Nigeria. I think it was in Imo State 2 days ago before Lagos yesterday. Just a throwback. Koolu, tell us.
Forward. We have a renew hope agenda, and we have a book authored by Hope. Isn't that celebrative enough? under the leadership of President Muhammad Buhari, our party began the work of stabilization. May so rest in peace. Yes, many years passed, mistakes